Alright, alright, alright. Hello everybody in the War of the Ring community. It's me, GenericPie, back again with another exciting LOME video for you. So this is the second game in my first round match against P0404. I won the first game playing as Shadow, so this time we switched sides, and he was playing as the Shadow this time. I was playing as the Free People. This one is a very different type of game. I think you're going to find it interesting. It's different. Let's just say that much. It's a very different type of game, and let's jump into it. So, as the Free People, I started off with Through a Day in the Night and Ents, and the Shadow started with Return of the Witch King and Orc Patrol. So for me, unplayable, yeah, confusion. Okay, cool with that. Here you got a Swarm of Bats, and you got a playable Attack the Fellowship card that could come in handy, but not great either for Shadow. Let's see the rolls. So we get a lovely roll. Oh yeah, by the way, just to clarify, I sent Gimli, my beloved dwarven friend, out to Erebor, and that was it. And I used obviously the Narya Gandhi. So they got a token. We got this lovely roll to start off with, and I got this pretty mediocre roll, below average roll. So that's not really how you want to start. So I decide to kind of play it slow. I do decide to draw a card straight away in case I get something like a playable strategy card that I can use to muster people in. Could be useful. Gandhi was hiding. I don't know what's going on there. I'm not sure what happened. So P0404 also draws a card. King is revealed. Brings down Isengard. I pass. They draw another. So lots of P's. P action. They draw into another card. And I decide here. I think my thinking was the odds are so low of me getting hit that it doesn't really make a difference because he's going second. If I do it now, if I do it later, does it really change things at all? I suppose in reality, it could because I get hit, and now I'm like, oh man, Loam, am I going to get hit by the bastard hound on the first move against One Eye? And it's a 2. Okay, so better than a reveal, but also you're having to think, do I kill Gandhi? Gandhi's really good in this version, and I like his die, and I've already got Gimli out of the Fellowship, so losing Gandhi in this situation is also not perfect, not ideal. I think about it for a while. He says lucky one for me, and I say, well, very unlucky, then lucky, and I decide to kill Gandhi. Yes, he goes away for 2 minutes, and I still think about it by the time he comes back, and I decide to kill Gandhi. Let me know if you think that's a good move. So then he brings in Saruman. I bring down the elves. He starts moving guys. I bring down the elves again. He moves Sauron down. I decide to get the elves all the way to war so that I can muster at least one elven elite in there at the start of the next turn, and he moves into Old Forest Road. Did I have any... Oh yeah, I was going to see if I had any hybrids. So I didn't even have any hybrids that turn. They were all just straight musters. Okay, anyway, we go into turn 2. He draws into Shadow of Dol and give it to us. And I get the way there and Rangers of the North. So some tasty loamage. Last game there wasn't a lot of loam action, a lot of loam specific stuff. This time we're getting a lot of it. And then he rolls this mad roll. 5 eyes. Insania. And I just do ellipsis, and I get a completely normal roll. So yeah, WTF, I feel you, man. That's rough. And I decide to, do what needed to be done, get my elf in there. He attacks Woodland Realm. So this turn basically plays itself, because from here, I mean, what would you do, right? I mean, it seems pretty obvious to me. You play Rangers, play Rangers of the North. Huh. Play Rangers of the North, do that, yep. Get Gandhi in. And then I guess debatably you don't actually move this turn. against that many eyes. You could just use that to play the Smeagol tiles and just not risk it. I decided to, he puts in a red tile, and I decided to go for it. I want to keep moving at least once per turn. He's only rolling 5 dice. It's not a guaranteed hit. But he does get the 6 and draws a 3. So glad again that it's not a reveal, but it's a tricky tile. So I decide to go for a random, and it's Merry. So the good thing about this is I do get Merry to Bree. So if I do try to interfere fire foes, that could be great. But 2 moves, only 4 left in the Fellowship. Lost Gandhi for 2. And inefficient loss of so it's not a good start for the old Fellowship in terms of damage. Anyway, so we go on to turn 3. So another eye heavy turn. Another eye heavy. So roll 2. Did he allocate 2 eyes this turn? I think he must have allocated 2. And I roll this. So again, not much in the movement stakes. And I say, could be a long game. Getting that sense, this could be a long one. And he says, yep, after the last time I see my war becoming sad. And I say, yeah, my Fellowship's looking so hot. So I feel like he's had a slow start. I've had a pretty brutal start. It's not been a great start for either of us, I don't think. His military slow. My Fellowship is wounded, so it's gonna be a slow one. So I decide to get the old Smeagol tiles in there. Seems like a sensible thing to do. He plays many kings to start getting the Southrons buffed up. At this point, because I've rushed the elves down, I decided it'd be a good time to get Galadriel. My thinking is there, like if the Balrog does come out and I go through here, then I want to protect Aragorn, protect Strider, sorry. So it'd be good to be able to have her ring to be able to block an eye in case that does happen. So army moves. I decide here to move the dwarves down. So even though the Southrons aren't close to attacking here, I like the idea that if at some point later on he does attack here, I'm instantly put to war, and I say if I can't move this guy into Erebor, instantly put to war, and I can just instantly start mustering down the dwarves. And it would regardless, it means the dwarves are much closer to war. If he does bring the Balrog, then I'm only 1 step away. So again, more standard army moves. I move, I'm hit again. So lots of being hit. And this time I draw Smeagol, so that's actually really good. I mean, being hit, it's actually, yeah, it's perfect. And I'd rather be hit there and get Smeagol than not move at all. So that actually worked out fantastically, and needed that meat shield given the state of the Fellowship. He starts moving, and I decide to get the dwarf in there anyway. So we go on to turn 4. I draw into Wizard's Staff, a little bit too late there, and King Brand, so that's good. So between, I must have rushed through it, but the Rangers didn't do any hits, and I got them into Dale. So lots of, Dale's going to be an absolute nightmare for the Shadow. And at this point, PO404 starts going for like a more of a concerted eye-heavy strategy, especially I think in the last turn now we're on 2 eyes. And then this roll happens, which is crazy. I say weird dice today, and I get this roll, so lots of Palantirs. Probably, I mean, it's a lot of movement. I'm probably not going to use it all to move, given the situation. I decide to move straight away, and he misses. So that's my first miss. That's nice. The Balrog comes in. I decide to, what do you think I would play here? Oh yeah, Kim Brand's, just in case he decided to attack into Dale for some reason. Don't want to risk it. The Witch King comes in. And I decide to move again here because I've got so many Cs. And I'm safe again. So that's the last turn. Everything's gone really nicely for me. The Smeagol, 2 movements. Very happy. Plays Black Captain to attack Woodland Realm. What strategy cards has he got? So he's got some nice cards here. What would you play here? I imagine he probably played Okay, so Swarm Bats cancels a confusion. Yeah, I think I was. Yeah, confusion makes the most sense there. And he rolls 3 5s, gets 1 hit on the reroll. And I get 1 hit back, so completely even combat. He probably wisely stops and draws there. I think that's smart. You don't want to get this army 2 down and then be vulnerable to if the North get to war. Okay, so we start. I decide to move again 3 times against 2 Ys. So maybe I'm playing with fire a little bit here. But I've got so many sea dice, and I'm looking in better shape now with Smeagol. So I think let's keep going, keep striking while the iron's hot, and I get a 0 reveal. And here I have a conundrum. Do I, at this point, what would you do? Would you go the north route, or would you go through Moria? And given the situation, I am tempted, because my thinking was, I do have Galadriel in place, so because the first tile is a 0, the next tile would be the Balrog tile. If it's an I can kill it, and then the third tile, that's out of the game. And then the third tile, whatever, I'm still only getting 1 tile's worth of damage potentially, and then that gives me a chance to use the ring, which I could then use. Gives me the chance to use 3 rings to the Elven Kings to potentially get it back, which would be amazing. So that was my thinking there. But ultimately, I decided that given the situation with the with corruption and the loss of Gandalf so relatively cheaply, and the fact I don't have Gimli, I think I decide let's not. I do a little dance here. I decide to just play it safe. So that's where I go. He moves the Southrons down. I flip the Fellowship. Then he plays All Patrol and draws another Smeagol. So yeah, so at this point, that's really. I would be very frustrated as a Shadow player at this point, because looking at the board, you haven't been able to do anything really militarily. Like, the one battle you've got is not in a great position. This thing's buffed up against you. You're not near anyone else. The elves are at war, so it's and then you get 2 Smeagol tiles, 2 non-hits, and the 0 reveal. It's pretty rough for the Shadow. So yeah, I was really feeling from at this point. I mean, I was happy as well. Let's be real. I was pleased, but it doesn't feel good when at the same time when your opponent is just, when it's not a competitive game, So then he puts in, he draws Captive Despair, and we move on to turn 5. Draws into a Deadly Strife, and we won't go back. And I draw into Challenge the King and Red Arrows. So I'm getting some really nice cards. I haven't really been talking about my cards very much, but Círdan's Ships effectively protects me down here. Dane makes this, to be honest, I've got the Dwarves practically to war, but if they do rush me, I've got that insurance there. I've got 3 rings. I've got a really nice hand. And the Red Arrow as well, so I can make more of a nuisance of the Rohan. So he decides to go for more of an eye corruption strategy at this point, and I do not blame him at all, especially when you roll this as well. So now we've got 5 eyes there, and 4 musters and 1 palantir. Just absurd. And I'm getting loads of movement. So it's kind of the opposite of what you kind of want as free peoples. When there are lots of eyes, you don't want to see lots of character dice. But having said that, when all he's got are musters and everything's already at war, it's not even a threat. So I say never seen so many M's. The last 2 turns have been pretty wild. So I decide to. I think my thinking is I'm going to have to go very slow here. Probably going to go very, very slowly down to Mordor. But I do want to try and move at once every turn, even against 5 eyes. He's still. There's no guarantee of rolling a 6. It's still a decent chance that he doesn't roll a 6 here. Less than 50% chance, right? Oh wait, what am I talking about? No, way over 50% chance. But anyway, so but yeah, it's never a guarantee of rolling a 6. But he gets 2 and draws an eye. So now I decide to use the ring, because I want an excuse to use 3 rings for the Elven Kings, and I'd rather not get revealed and get 2 damage. But he draws another eye anyway, so that's whenever I've seen that situation while playing Loam, that's what seems to happen. It's a bit like dreadful spells always failing. So, but it's okay because I've got Shmigi, so Shmeagol dies and we shall get it comes in. The Southrons go down to war. I play the 3 rings and I say Darn, and then he gets a bit annoyed because I said Darn, because the game's going so well for me. But it was just a natural reaction. You know, like you have something that doesn't go your way and you just, you write it sometimes. But I kind of apologized. And he said he was a bit tilted, and I said that's fine because his luck had been really bad. But at this point, so he starts mustering in Isengard, and I think that was a smart play, actually. When you've got lots of musters and not much to do with it, I think mustering up Orthanc is often a strong play, because often the free people can't react, and if you can get a big enough force, you can just blitzkrieg into Helm's Deep. But luckily for me, I kind of had a good because I've got Red Arrow and a Sea Die that I don't want to use to move the Fellowship. I use the first Sea Die to hide. He musters up some more. I use the Red Arrow to get them in here, and then he decides to muster again, and then I use this to get them into Western Met. So he can't. I've got the big army to go into Helm's Deep to defend it, which is really nice. So everything's kind of going my way at this point. Not gonna lie. So then we. Oh yeah, so he accidentally starts the next turn before he uses his final die. He uses the final die to play Captain of Despair. And we go into turn 6. And I lose my, I think maybe I lost the die already because I rolled an eye. But anyway, so yeah, Galadriel's die's gone. Draw into Grimbeorn and Deadman, and he drew into he got rid of We Won't Go Back, just drew into Fighting Urukai, and on they went. So nice card to have in this situation. Well, kind of. It will be useful at some point, you'd imagine. Again, and then he rolls this crazy thing again. So just can't stop rolling musters and Palantirs. So let's have a look at the stats at this point. It's pretty nuts. So yeah, Shadows die so absurd. So they're minus 10 on attacks, +4 on eyes, +5 on Palantirs, +2 on musters, and it feels like that was even higher given how many musters he's rolled in like concerted rolls. And then you add in the fact that he's been allocating so many eyes, so he's basically had 8 dice that he can use for any kind of army movement. That's on turn 6. That's crazy. Meanwhile, I've had a lot of P's, a couple below average on W's, but it's fine. Mine are fine. And he's also had below average, hasn't rolled a 6. Oh no, these must be switched. So, okay, my combat's been poor, but I've only rolled 10 dice. Anyway, so I move the Fellowship quickly, in case he's got any sneaky cards, and I don't want him to put any Nazgul on me, and he misses. So he's annoyed at that, understandably. And he starts a little Nazgul train. They love the train, the Nazgul. Then I use a die to bolster Helm's Deep, and he plays Cruel Weather. So I was glad to see that for a couple of reasons. Because A, you don't want it to happen here, and B, it took me away from his the reroll. So I was kind of pleasantly surprised. I was surprised he didn't wait a little bit longer to do that. But because he's committing so many eyes, and there's so many reveals left, I suppose there's a chance I get revealed every step, and then he doesn't get the chance to use it, or every time it might just get revealed into Morannon. But yeah, at the time I was quite pleased to see it early rather than later, than not have to worry about the conundrum. So I use Grimbeorn, thinking, I don't really know what else to do here. Since I've got the dice to cover these guys, to use Kid and ships to cover Dol Amroth, I'm not in a rush to get Gondor to war. So I think I might as well try and move these guys around here to Dale just to make a nuisance of themselves. He plays another red tile. I move a Gondor regular. So yeah, I'm just doing kind of little bits and bobs all over the place. So yeah, I get these guys over here. I get an extra guy in Minas Tirith because I think this army might come around and try and get me under siege. So at least I've got 5 in there. I guess another elite in Northanc, and I get the dwarves to war. So it's almost like one of those situations where like you've got too many dice and you're just kind of finding excuses for what to do with them. It's a real first world problem in Lord of the Rings terms. So we go into turn 7. He draws into Day Without Dawn and the Lidless Eye, and I draw into the Father Galadriel and Dan draws Archer. So again, great timing with Thranduil's. Fellowship's okay. He gets, because he's going heavy on eyes, he keeps rolling a lot of eyes on top of the eyes though, which is just kind of, it's good in one sense because it's making it more likely that he's going to hit me, but in any kind of military sense, it's just killing his chances. So again, I rolled, a ton of C's. What are my C's like at the moment? I must be pretty high. +2. Okay, so I rolled low on them in the first couple of rounds. Here I made an error. I should have played Thranduil's first. Especially because, can he even put like a Nazgul on an army? I can't remember. Probably you can't, right? So I don't think I needed to rush that. I think I could have taken my time. But I guess I was thinking, what if he plays a tile drawing card and then I don't know. I think I should have just, played Thranduil's first anyway, because he does decide to attack. But the reason he's attacking is just to cycle C cards. I don't think he's actually got any intention of trying to take or trying to, win Woodland Realm right away, especially given he's surrounded. Yeah, I used. So what happened there? Yeah. So he attacks Woodland Realm. I play Sudden Strike, get a hit with it, and he gets 1 hit back. I get no hits with the actual attack, and he draws into another red tile, which is starting to get a bit concerning. I then play the Thranduils, so now Woodland Realms is a real nightmare, and draw into every little as a gain. So then he plays the red tile. So let's have a look at the pools. The pool's getting smaller, and there are now 3 red tiles that have been added. So foreboding. So I flip the Fellowship. He starts moving down towards Helm's Deep. Still got an Ent card. Could use it to attack here. I think at the moment, I decide to use it as for defense rather than gambling on hitting Orthanc. I think the odds are so low that I'd rather use it in combat, especially since my other cards, I want to save every little as a gain and Valor. So I put in File. He attacks Helm's Deep. And Rohan go to war. So, is that correct? Oh yeah, then I use the final die to put Rohan all the way to war so I can start mustering. That's right. So he draws Rachel Dallandine's Candles of Corpses, and what does he get rid of? I draw in Spirit of Mordor and Reaper of the Swifter. Gets rid of Threats and Promises. Allocates the 3-eye strat, rolls another eye, and I again just decide to. I've got, I'm worried about Day Without Dawn. I need to keep moving the Fellowship at least once a turn. Get hit, and there is an eye, so that is 1 reveal. So I think I just have to eat that because you don't want to risk, doing a random on that situation. He starts mustering Nazgul. I move this guy up here so that if he does attack into, because I want to move armies anyway. When else did I move? Oh yeah, so I consolidate the armies in Dale. Move this guy up in case this army comes here, so I can. The Gondor is put to war for me. He moves leadership to Helm's Deep. And yeah, the thing goes in the box. And I flip the Fellowship. Candles of Corpses played, gets 1 hit. And I play Dane's Iron Fist Guard, because again, I'm just like, I want to kind of get these guys stronger at some point. I don't know what else to do. I could have got Gondor to war. Could have started. Maybe I should have started getting the North to war. Maybe that would have been a play, actually. Start getting the North to war and make them a genuine military threat. As like a plan B. Anyway, he plays a fighting Uruk-hai and starts off with the Deadly Strife. I can't play a card. Bad combat roll, but a strong reroll. Gets 4 hits. I get 5 back. So the army is severely diminished, but it's done so much damage to the row herein that it should be enough. Round 2, I decided to play the Ent card here, just to try and do as much damage as possible. Maybe in retrospect I should have played Shield Wall, especially, you know, he plays Desperate Battle, so I was rolling on 4s anyway. So now I'm rolling on like 2s, I guess. So he gets 2 hits. I get 3 hits back, so that's very good, but it's still 3v1. So even though that combat has gone quite well for me, the combination of, you know, just the Deadly Strife getting 4 hits, it's just I needed a defensive card. So maybe then, yeah, I think I probably should have played the Shield Wall just to try and survive, because that should have been my priority at that stage. And now the Shield Wall is useless because I've got too few guys. So that was a little mistake. I think I should have played the Shield Wall. I decided at this point to hold on to my cards and use them elsewhere. I don't think, well, I can't use them anyway. So, so that's that. Yeah, Helm's Deep goes down. He starts moving armies around. We go into turn 9. Another thing I should have done, actually, that I've not been thinking about is I've had all these extra dice. Should have got Elrond in. Should have got Elrond in ages ago. That's a classic LOME error. Once Galadriel died, should have got Elrond in. So yeah, that was a bit of naivety on my part. Draw into Aemir and Athelas. So very happy to see Athelas. I'm still worried about how high my corruption is at this point. He allocates 3 eyes again. If adds 0 eyes to the hunt. I move the Fellowship. Get hit again. And at this point, like, I wouldn't say that I felt like I was unlucky. I think overall at this point the net was still the game. He was still very much the unlucky one, but been hit so many times. Like getting hit on that first step. I mean, how many used tiles are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So okay, that's not that bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Plus an eye that I killed. Plus 2 Smeagol. So I've been hit. There's a lot of tiles. And then there's a 3. So here, maybe for the sake of efficiency, yeah, I think I gambled it here. And I got Boromir because I wanted to keep Strider alive. Maybe for efficiency's sake, given the fact that I've got time, should have killed the Dunedain there. Right, so, but that's right. Okay, now I remember. I stupidly moved too fast. I should have played Athelas first, because if I played Athelas first, then there was no. Because that's the reason I ended up taking casualty, because I didn't want to lose Strider and then lose the effectiveness of Athelas. So that was a big error on my part. What I should have done, played Athelas, then moved, and then if I hit the 3, I would have killed Strider. Instead, I was forced to take a random and be a little bit inefficient. So that was a silly move by my part. Athelas only gets a 1 anyway, which isn't great. So it didn't make a huge difference in the grand scheme of things. It didn't make any difference because a 5 would have been fine if Strider was dead or not. But going forward, that was a mistake. That was silly. So he plays Nazgul Strike. I'm revealed. Yes, so he obviously hits me. Gets a 1 reveal. I hide using Strider's ability. Starts marching towards Lorien and getting armies down here. And now I'm in a little bit of a fix because I've only got have a look at my force pool. I've only got two of these guys left. So I've been kind of resting on my laurels thinking, oh, Dol Amroth's fine. But now I can't really defend Lorien and Dol Amroth at the same time. So I'm suddenly thinking, okay, I kind of need to. My priority is probably getting a guy in Dol Amroth. Oh, oh wow, I cheated here by accident. That's bad. I forgot that Gondor weren't at war. Okay, so that was a mistake on my part. Okay, so I should have used that to get Gondor to war, and then use the second die to get. Yes, that's pretty bad. So he attacks Lorien, and then I use the final die to get get an elite into Lorien. Okay. Wow. Okay. Well, you'll see what happens in the game. But fingers crossed that doesn't play a part. Okay, he plays Pits of Mordor, and then we go into turn 10. Right, so he draws into New Powers Rising, and the gates are closed. So good timing for the gates are closed. And he allocates the 3 eyes, as you do. That's just okay. Get my 1 movement that I need. And he gets a nice move full of you know, potential card using character dice. So I move the first ship, and I get hit again, and it's a 2. So it's starting to really hurt, all these hits. I've had some moments, you know, where I didn't get hit. I had a couple moves here, I think, maybe 1 move here and a couple moves here. But getting hit on the first, second step, and it's starting to really add up. And I say, am I allowed to complain about getting hit every move? And he says, I've done a lot for it. And it's true. It's true. He has committed a lot to this strategy. So you would hope that, you know, when you commit this many eyes, that you get a payoff. And it has paid off for him. So yeah, fair play. But having said that, I think I've been hit on a 6, you know, I think above average the amount of times I've been hit by a 6 at this point. So at this point, you don't want to lose Strider inefficiently. I don't mind losing him for a 2, but I'm basically gambling on Legolas here. Maybe again, I should have been a bit more cautious there. Slight inefficiencies. So then he plays the gates are closed, and we aren't sure if this works when I declare into Mordor. So we go and check online, and we think that it does declare at the start of next turn. I do have to draw a tile, but then I think we've clarified later that isn't the case. However, if he uses a card to reveal me, then it could do damage. So yeah, anyway, so I think that might be from the 1st edition or something. So I play, he attacks Lorien, I play Daring Defiance against Durin's Bane, so that's great. He gets no hits, I get no hits because I had to forfeit the leadership. I now bring in Elrond way later than I should have. Should have got Elrond ages ago. I guess I wasn't in a huge bit rushed to use his ability, but I could have used the extra die. You know, you can always use the extra die. So, and then he drew, during that combat, he drew into Nazgul Search, which at this point, he's been searching for cards all game, but that is the dream card, the absolute dream card in this situation. Because it means he gets, I guess, 2 tile draws when he would have got, having known the rules now, 0. So that's unfortunate. So yeah, anyway, we're still talking about the gates are closed, trying to figure that out. At this point I start thinking, you know what, I really need to start getting some nice character cards. And maybe again earlier I should have been thinking about that a bit more, trying to, you know, perhaps use more of the wills and the Palantirs to draw cards, trying to get some character cards rather than playing strategy cards. So I was a little bit late on that. So I draw an axe and bow, which is handy because I do still have Legolas. 1 positive still having Legolas, but then he plays Nazgul Search. And I was thinking he probably had this for a while, but drawing into it then, I mean, he's gone through half the deck, but that's still, the timing of it is painful. So I say, do Sad Face, draw into a 1. I've got to take it, got to eat it, and then an eye. So that is lucky. That is lucky. So that went really well for me. The one damaging thing is it's just shrinking the pool. And look at this. You've got 1 blue and 3 red going into this pool, plus a bunch of eyes. So it's going to be a really horrible Mordor. He plays Isildur's Bane. And then he plays Isildur's Bane and gets another one. So it's just eking up. It's just eking up 1 step at a time. And that's another one out of the pool. So I mean, to be honest, it would have been awful whatever he got there for me. I mean, the 0 would have been the best, but even then, that's a 0 that I can't get later, and I'm just left in a sea of red, drowning in red. So it's hurting. It's hurting. Looking back, given the precarious situation, maybe I should have declared in Dale and waited. Given, especially because I had such a fat army here, maybe I should have gone there and chilled out for a little while, and just recovered. But at the same time, I was going so slowly, and I did have a good buffer, and I kept rolling sea dice. So I'm not sure if that would have been the right move anyway. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think I should have gone to Dale? Anyway, so New Powers Rising comes in, so that protects Orthanc, makes the Dunlandings a force to be reckoned with, and we go into turn 11. So I'm hoping for some nice cards here. Draw into the Grey Company, not great, and yeah, so not good cards at this point. And then yeah, we go into Mordor with this pool. So, oh boy. So I'm thinking I need to kind of do something about this. And I say, pool is awful. And he says, yes, some nice red ones. Yeah, fair enough. So there's not too many eyes in there, which is good. And I decide to hide the Fellowship straight away. He attacks Lorien. I use charge because I've got all this leadership in there. He uses Fear of Their Masters. I get 2 hits on the pre-roll. And then I get a bunch of hits, 4+1, because of Fear of Their Masters. And so I did tons of damage there. Really downsized that army. But again, it's not the big concern right now isn't military. Or it could be. It could be, depending on how slow I have to go. So yeah, so then I play Axe and Bow. He plays the Shadow Lengthens to buff up the armies here to protect this from Western Met and to get the army strengthened in Lorien. And I draw another card, and I draw into a blue tile, which is great. That's exactly what I was hoping for. Because it's not about speed now. It's about just, I want Bilbo's Song. I want blue tiles. I want the Gollum healing card that I always forget the name of. There is Another Way. Anything like that, just to save me, basically. I think there's another healing card in LOME that I forget the name of. So any healing cards, effectively. I've gone through almost half the deck, so I've had Athelas, but I need more. I need more good character cards. So again, we're doing Lorien, and he gets some nice dice this time. So he gets a lot of hits there, so that's good. And I get just the 2 hits back because of Valor. So yeah, so Lorien's now in trouble. I play my blue tile. So now the pool's looking a bit better. There's above average that I don't get a nasty tile, basically. I mean, a 3 is pretty horrendous, but at least I can take it efficiently. I've got 1, 2, 3 nice. I'll take an eye, take a blue tile. Yeah, so I'm just hoping for the best. He played Dreadful Spells, gets 1 hit to weaken Lorien that little bit more, and I try and move the Fellowship. And it's a red. So, I mean, I needed to get lucky here. And I've used Axe and Bow, but now it's just looking rough. 1 red down, 2 to go. He says tough choice, and then he draws a shadow card, and he draws into Morgul Wound. Oh no! And I hide the Fellowship, luckily. And he says, let's not risk. And I think he was thinking about playing Foul Thing, but he didn't want to risk drawing one of his own good tiles. So instead he uses Foul Thing in combat. I think that's a smart play. Gets 1 hit. I get no hits back. At this point, I think I could have played Daylight and Shield Wall, but I'm thinking I'll save them elsewhere in case because Lorien's going to die. I can't really do any damage and survive there. So he attacks again. Words of Power. Gets his 6. I get no hits back. So yeah, that's finally falls. Next turn, draws into Monsters Rouse and Wormtongue. And I draw Elven Cloaks and Last Battle. So I'm happy to get another blue tile, starting to get some character cards I can really use to defend myself, which is great. And I first feel good, kinda. Yeah, not feeling good at the moment. He gets another one of these crazy muster hand rolls that he seems to have had a lot of this game, and I get a super heavy movement turn, which in most games would be fantastic in Mordor, but in this game it's almost a bit too much. But the great thing about it is I can draw and play as many character cards as I can, so it is actually a really good roll in that sense. So yeah, so I can play Elven Cloak straight away. Worried about Day Without Dawn. Did he play that? I can't remember if he played it or any earlier. Anyway, maybe he discarded it. I'm not sure. He gets the mouth. I draw a card. Draw into Gwahir. And at this point, I do start to think about, okay, what are my options militarily? I've got this army here with a hobbit. I've got this guy here who could with a hobbit again. So what could I do with that? Got these guys. These guys are at war. The main issue I had militarily the whole game, and maybe this was a mistake, is I just needed the North to be at war. I needed the North to be at war. I needed Gondor to be at war as well, really. I needed the North to be at war so that I could actually make this a threat. Because that army, that can take this. If he has a bad turn, maybe he's had one earlier, I can take that. I could have really done with Fear. If I'd drawn Fear 5 foes at some point in this game, I could have really made military a serious option. Especially with Gwahir as well. I had the ability to get him over to Minas Tirith as well. So, but at this point, getting deep into the game, now that he's taken this, I'm in a slightly precarious situation where if I weaken myself too much, he can just beat me to 10. So that's tricky in itself. So I decided to keep pressing on with the strategy in Mordor. He plays Rage of Dunlendings. Looks like he's starting to go for the Shire. I move, because I've got to keep moving. Can't keep playing blue tiles all day. So looking at it now. So now, it's quite a few nice tiles for me here. We've got the 1, 2, 3, at least, well, there's 4 nice tiles for me. The 3, that just kills Strider straight away. I can deal with that, There's only 2 that I'm like really concerned about, and I get one of them. So that's 2 reds in a row in Mordor. And I say, am I allowed to complain yet? Because the luck has swung. The luck has swung. And he's done a great strategy, to be fair. But 2 red tiles, at least if I'd not got the reds, and if say I'd got the eyes or something else, or a blue, a 0, it's just something to give me a chance. I could be up here, and within, it's still very precarious, but it gives you a shot. But not moving in 2 moves, getting in the process, I think it's 5, losing basically, yeah, just I think I lost. That's 4 damage for no movement. It's not great. And then he hits me with the Morgul Wound. I say, oh man. And now, now it's looking very, very shaky indeed. Now it's looking very, very bad indeed. So I hide because I'm worried about other cards that can hurt me. He starts moving guys around. I say, And I say, well, at least the pool looks nicer now. And it does. The pool looks pretty good. The pool's looking pretty dandy. Got 3 nice tiles and 3 lovely blue tiles. Shame they haven't shown up for me so far. And he says, yeah, I think it needs shell up. And I just think about, do I risk moving again? Well, he says, do we risk moving? And I think, no. Because, I mean, if I get an eye, it's game over. So I'm still hoping that I can get, I just, great move. And I say, yeah, very strong move. I moved the Hobbit to Osgiliath. So I'm thinking, like, if I can get Gondor to war, maybe I've already discarded Through a Day and a Night, so I can't really do much of a surprise attack on, Morannon or whatever. So it feels all pretty desperate at this point. I'm basically just hoping for either a miracle. Yeah, I don't really know what I was thinking at this point. He draws Shelob. Yeah, he literally said it needs the spider. He's only got 5 left in the deck, so 1 in 5 chance of drawing it. And then we clarified the rules on the gates are closed, so that's fine. We sorted that out. He rolls this. We get some nice military roll. Elrond betrays me. He says, yeah, he needs eyes. And I say, well, there's one. So I try to move. And I get a 3. I get a 3, which isn't the worst tile. It's the same as the eyes. It's better than the eyes, actually. But at this point, you're hoping for a lucky break. You know, after the 2 reds, you're hoping for a blue. You kind of, in this situation, you need a blue. You need file to give you a shot. So now I'm up to 11. And at this point, Captain Spare goes. He brings in Shelob just to make it that much less likely that I'm going to win. And I looked at the board and I was like, he plays Shadows. And he starts consolidating armies to go to Rivendell. And I'm looking now, it's like he's actually very close to winning militarily. Actually pretty damn close to winning militarily. Take Pelargia, easy. Can take that, the Shard. That's 2 dice. So then he's up to 6. He's going to get Rivendell. Then he's up to 8. So he's a few dice away from doing that. So I was thinking maybe this is, again, just me being slightly tilted, me being desperate. I just think I need to keep moving because he can get up to 8 points in very few dice. And from there, he can get 2 more points quite easily by, you know, probably charging into Edoras or maybe where else? Yeah. If he goes for, yeah, if he charges here, yeah, I mean, I can fight that back. But I was just thinking, I need luck at this point. So I'm going to need to gamble at some point. Even if I get Bilbo's song, I'm going to need to gamble at some point. So I could have been more patient. I could have used rings to try and draw more cards, try and draw into Bilbo's song, try and draw into Mithril Coat and Sting. He's got We Shall Get It anyway. So maybe I was kind of giving up at this point. I think I just felt like I needed a Hail Mary. But I probably should have fought it down to the last die. I say maybe I'll wait a little longer, and then I say, nah, fuck it. I just go like, let's try. Let's try, because I thought about military again, and again, like if I needed to draw into Fear Fire foes really to make that viable, or I need to move the north down. I don't even have these guys at war yet, so by the time I do anything, if I'm going to leave stuff open, if I attack these guys down, I would need. It wasn't on the cards. It just wasn't on the cards to go military. So I needed luck. So I move, and it's a 2 reveal. And that was the game. That was the game. And I say well played because I think given how awful his start was, he did the right thing. He did a really, really smart play with going hard on corruption and just digging in and not worrying too much. Jimmy, he did the strategy stuff, sorry, the military stuff well, but just didn't make it a priority. Focus on the character cards and got a bit of luck with a few little things here and there. The tile draws weren't always the best, you know, but just shrinking the pool, and just that's what really got me, I think. And then that made it so much more likely that I would hit a red. So many reds in there, you know. First 2 moves, I hit reds, and what can you do? What can you do? So yeah, that's the game. I'd love to hear people's thoughts on this one because I think I did okay. I went, you know, I think going slowly was obviously the right play, and I think I defended pretty well. But I'd be curious to hear how you think I could have played that better. You know, what were the little inaccuracies? Getting the north to war, perhaps making that a more of a thing. I think some slight, you know, losing the odd point here and there. Maybe you don't even give up Gandhi on the first move. Keep him as a meat shield a bit longer, but 2 is okay. But yeah, I lost to like 3 or 4 little points here. I mean, it's an argument for, you know, the risk of taking out Gimli as well. Because if I had Gimli in there, and I maybe get a little bit luckier in Mordor, you know, he makes the difference. He could really have made the difference. But yeah, that's the game, and thanks for watching, and I will bring you the third game soon. We're going to play on Sunday or Monday, so sometime next week you will know who is going through to the next round. And I think I've drawn in my 3 games as the free people, my 3 tournament games as the free people, I've drawn 6 red tiles, so love this game.